Our next co-fellow, Kathy Governor.
You have to remember that everything that you say and that you do, when observed by a child, is liable to come back at a time and a place that you really wish it hadn't. I grew up in Philadelphia. My father was an English teacher. And we had a boisterous, very Irish family life. And my father's language best be described as colorful. And in the evenings, he would teach school in the daytime, he'd come home, take a nap, and then at dinner time, he would take the newspaper and he would read things that he thought he wanted my mother to be aware of. And he especially liked to read editorials and letters to the editor out of the Philadelphia Bulletin. And this was during the election between Eisenhower and Adlai Stevenson. And my father was a Stevenson fan. And so any editorial that backed Eisenhower or letters to the editor who complained about Stevenson had to be read in full, followed by sarcastic comments. On one particular day, there was one that really got under his skin, and he read that, and he folded it up, and he slammed it down on the table. He said, "Hell's bells." Well, this was a concept that I had never considered. So, the next time that we had catechism class, I obviously went to Catholic school, and the priest would come in and teach catechism. I raised my hand. "How do you tell the difference between church bells and hell's bells?" Well, the nun who was in charge of our classroom nearly fainted dead away. And a note was sent home to my parents. Well, my father was on the receiving end of my mother's constant harping to watch his language around the children. This is especially true during the evening newspaper reading. And that was very trying for my father. Well, whenever he would forget himself, I would learn a new term. And I couldn't wait to try them out. And this caused some difficulties. I had my face slapped. My grandmother almost fainted dead away at one instance. And my mother took to washing my mouth out with soap. And this was happening on a fairly regular basis. I know it's frowned upon today. And my mother used Phil's naphtha. I don't know if you remember that. It was a green, very gritty, sandy soap. And my mother decided that this punishment had run its course when we were in the supermarket, and I begged her to try Dove. And she wanted to know why, and I told her it tasted so much better. Well, there was one editorial came out, and the Bulletin was a strong supporter of Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was a war hero. It's understandable. And from what I understand from reading Adelaide Stevenson, did not have a whole lot of personality, and that's a problem for any politician who doesn't have a personality. And he really was offended by the editorial. And he read it with great drama. Slammed that paper down. It's a wonder it didn't go through the table. And he opened his mouth, and when he looked up, there were 3 kids, spoons raised, eyes wide, mouths open. And he, balls! Well, that was a new one. Actually, it was many years before I understood why that was interesting, but it was a new word, you know, and how could I get in trouble for that one? Couldn't imagine it. And of course, an opportunity presented itself the next day. I was in school and we had essays, and I was sure that the essay that I put in that little blue essay booklet was definitely worth the Pulitzer Prize. And so as the nun came down, passing them out to the desks as she went by, and I got mine, and there was not an A double plus, there was a C on it. I pulled that thing up, and I slammed it down on the desk, and I said, balls. And the nun, who was a few desks ahead, turned around, all the blood had drained from her face, and it was whiter than the bib on her habit. And she hissed, "What did you say, young lady?" Balls? And the rest of the essays dropped out of her nerveless fingers, and she walked over them and reached over and grabbed me by the earlobe and lifted me out of my desk and marched me down to Mother Superior. She went flying into Mother Superior's office with me being dragged by the ear behind, and she explained to her why I had to be expelled from this school and what a bad example I was to other children, etc., etc. And Mother Superior told me to put my hands out, and I locked them behind my back. And this was seen as an act of defiance. And Mother Superior asked me what I thought I was doing. And I said, well, Sister Winifred said balls twice this morning, and you're not punishing her. Oh, said Mother Superior. And when did Sister Winifred say that? I said, first of all, she told us we were playing volleyball. And then she told David to go to the gym and bring the balls back. I see, said Mother Superior. And she told Sister Winifred that she would take care of the problem and she should go back to her classroom. And so Sister Winifred left, and Mother Superior told me to sit down and she would be right back. And she went away and she came back with milk and cookies. And we sat on the end of Mother Superior's desk, and we had milk and cookies, and she explained to me that sometimes it wasn't what you said, it was how you said it. And then she asked me a few questions, and I told her about my dad and the editorials and etc. And well, I was sent home with Father Aloysius, who had a long talk with my father.